Often, do your children complain they'll never use what they're learning in school? A program in several North Carolina schools is trying to change that while also boosting test scores and getting kids more interested in their education. Claire Monroe shows us how microsociety works.
Lawyers prepare to try their cases. Workers put the finishing touches on the flower shop before it opens. It's all in a day's work at Healthy Start Academy in Durham.
You have a job, you know what it's like in the real world, and when you grow up, you already know how to handle yourself or whatever.
The school uses a program called Microsociety.
It's a society just like the society that you'd find outside the school's doors, but it's run within the school and it's run by the kids. They take the roles that you'd find in society, everything from the legislature to the bank to a newspaper, museums, nonprofits, businesses, and they begin to interoperate between the kids.
It's Destiny Crisp's job to make sure it all runs smoothly. She's the president.
Attention all K-1 teachers, you may report for your classes to go to open market at this time.
Just like in the real world, President Crisp had to be elected and wears many hats.
I have to sign laws. I have to walk around Micro and do updates about how jobs are going. And I just walk around and make sure everything's going great and stay with the legislative branch and make sure that they're making the laws that are right for our citizens.
But sometimes people break the laws, which is where people like Crystal Eatman come in.
While we're peacekeepers, what we do is control the highways and make sure nobody runs up and down them.
What happens in the real world if you speed?
You get a ticket.
And what happens here if you run in the hallway?
You get a ticket.
You may be seated.
And for other infractions, you might find yourself in court.
DeMontre Jones was not talking. He does not like to talk it out.
Kindergartners through 8th graders take part in Microsociety. Each student has a job and earns Microsociety money to spend at school.
With K-3, they participate in classroom jobs, and they're paid through their classroom jobs. Their homeroom teachers still have to submit a payroll saying that the students, they were the board eraser and they earned $8 for being the board eraser, or they were the class helper and they earned $8.
Program coordinator Tarania Reams says 4th through 8th graders actually run the government agencies and businesses, and Microsociety's Philip Hawkins says what might look like mere role-playing is actually a valuable learning opportunity.
If you want to be in a court in a microsociety, you have to pass a bar exam. Where does that come from? Well, you get a local district attorney. He'll come in, he'll say, okay, kids, this is what you have to do if you're really going to be a lawyer.
How many times you had to write expectations?
Twice.
Why do you have to keep writing them?
Because I keep talking.
We're having fun, at the same time we're learning, and we're learning about math in the bank, and we're learning about the real world, how the real world can be. You know, we have real money, you have to pay taxes, and student tuition, things like that.
6th grader Khalil Muhammad knows all about money. He's a bank teller.
I just deal with the businesses. Any questions about the business or about the bank that they need, they just come here.
When it comes to implementing Microsociety, schools actually learn an economics lesson of their own. It typically costs anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 for the initial setup and training, and then schools can expect to spend about $20 per student per year just on supplies, and that's real money, not micro money. But Principal Dietrich Danner says he thinks spending the money is well worth it.
It's a program that will give students the kinds of experiences that they need, where learning is no longer abstract to them. It's real, it's practical, it's hands-on. Although they may be playing with play money, they are learning about the values of society. And I think that's the greatest thing that we can do in preparing leaders of tomorrow.
Schools must spend not only money, but also time. Principal Danner says Microsociety takes about an hour each day. Again, though, he says it's worth it because students can actually apply what they've learned in the classroom.
When a student's writing for the newspaper, he or she can then craft his or her skill from the from the language arts class. They can recall information learned about mechanics of grammar. Or if they're in math, they can remember that it takes addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division to understand the tax base.
They realize that the so-called sacrifice of the period really isn't a sacrifice. What they're doing is really gaining a lot of practice time. They're gaining a lot of reinforcement time. And they're also gaining a time when kids can do things they can't do in the classroom, which is use different skills at the same time.
Danner says state test scores have gone up since his school started using Microsociety 2 years ago. Discipline problems are down. And coordinator Taranya Reams says the students are excited about school.
The students are really eager to attend work. They take their jobs seriously. A lot of students go home and they talk about what they did in their businesses. They come back to school, they're eager, they're stopping teachers in the hallway. Can I do this today? Are we going to do this in our job?
It's pretty cool, you know, you can go and buy stuff with fake money, but the stuff you're buying is real. But it's pretty good.
And just like in the real world, kids get to experience a long, busy day at work and learn a few life lessons.
I learned that it's a lot of hard work. And then if you work hard enough, you can get a lot of money.
Healthy Start Academy paid for Microsociety with a grant from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. 2 other schools in North Carolina use Microsociety: Success Institute in Statesville and the Kennedy Learning Center in Winston-Salem.